And, you know, his rhetoric is, of course,
terrifying.
Extreme.
His rhetoric is terrifying.
It's terrifying, but I think it's also indicative of what he's willing to do over the course of the next 12 months to make sure that Republicans retain.
So Abby Phillip hosted a panel on her Table for Five segment on CNN, and this one featured the return of Sam Seder from the Majority Report. Sam joined Abby and the rest of the guests as they responded to one of the MAGA-leaning commentators who often appears on her show. The discussion centered on the recent threats Donald Trump has reportedly made towards Democrats. Let's jump into it.
Welcome back. When it comes to Donald Trump's rhetoric, America is well rehearsed. There's been a decade of insults, provocations, controversies. You named the line and Trump has pretty much crossed it. But did he go too far this time? 6 Democrats released a video telling service members to disobey illegal orders. The president called them traitors. He said that they could be executed for seditious behavior. He even promoted another message that called for their hangings. One columnist says it's all a distraction from the bad news that he's been facing this week, from Epstein to the economy. Now, while that could most certainly be true, can it be ignored? Should it be ignored? Especially when those lawmakers say that his rhetoric is putting their lives actually in danger. After all, Trump and Republicans get angry when Democrats, liken his behavior to a fascist or a dictator. But calling for the execution of political opponents fits the definition. And it's certainly more extreme than calling someone a descriptor. I mean, do you think that, I hear this sort of like, don't fall for the okie doke, he's just trying to distract you thing from Democrats a lot. Do you think this falls into that category, or is it something else?
Well, I mean, I think, frankly, you've got two sides that are preparing for perhaps what's going to happen over the course of the next year. Donald Trump's approval ratings are dismal. The Republican Party is on their back heels. They got destroyed, wiped out in a way that I haven't seen in 20 years in those elections 2 weeks ago. And so I think there's genuine concern amongst a lot of people in the country that Donald Trump is going to send in troops. He's already got these 500-person rapid response forces that are beginning to train and are going to be able to be deployed by spring. I think there's a lot of people who are concerned about what's going to happen over the course of the next 12 months in the run-up to the midterm elections. And I think the Democrats were trying to get out in front of that, and I think Donald Trump is trying to prevent them from getting out in front of it. And, you know, his rhetoric is, of course,
terrifying.
Extreme.
His rhetoric is terrifying.
It's terrifying, but I think it's also indicative of what he's willing to do over the course of the next 12 months to make sure that Republicans retain the House.
No, I mean, but what do you mean? Do you mean in terms of actually following through on the threats, or what?
Well, I think there is a concern that Donald Trump is going to try and prevent the midterm elections from happening.
Okay, you're talking about these are the illegal orders.
Oh, okay, that he's trying to. Oh, okay.
Sorry.
But let's just talk about just what's happening right now and how we just think that he's planning ahead. What world do we live in when a president gives an idea that, yes, I think execution is okay for my political opponents? What world do we live in when we just ignore that and we don't talk about what that actually means? Because we're used to what he's done. He's numbed us. We're normalizing his behavior. I think that's really dangerous. And I think all of it, yes, it is a distraction. Yes, it is something for us to pay attention to. But how dangerous is it as we come off of a assassination of Charlie Kirk? How dangerous is it to hear him say this?
Brought that up.
As if someone
the violence in this country is one-sided, and everyone knows it, right? What Trump is talking about is sedition, which is a law and order process. It goes, by the way, you know, George Washington had generals who did insurrections put to death as well, right? So, like, that's our first president that we ever had. Trump is.
Wait, hold on.
Let me just be clear.
Are you suggesting that Trump is right that these Democrats?
No,
should
what
be
I'm
put
saying
to
is
death for
that
sedition?
you guys are making the same mistake that you always do about Trump, which is that you're taking him literally instead of seriously. What he is obviously pointing out.
He's the president of the United States. I think it is warranted to take him quite literally.
But you fall for this game every time.
I'm sorry. He is not not candidate Trump anymore. It's President Trump.
But what those Democrats are doing is seriously. Absolutely treasonous. It's disloyal. They are causing division within the military. Who's issuing unlawful orders?
How is that treasonous?
How is his actions not the same type of normalizing of violent rhetoric that led to the assassinations that we've seen? That's come from DNR. I mean, we've seen.
Which are?
I'm saying I think
Democratic
there's been...
lawmakers in Minnesota
Oh,
were
the ones that were
assassinated.
killed after the Medicaid wasn't expanded to illegal immigrants?
Hold
the
on.
ones that,
Wait, excuse me?
it's
This kind of argument always gets to me. Terry Schilling, the MAGA commentator on the panel, used the same defense we hear all the time. Oh, Donald Trump was just joking. And Abby Phillip pushed back exactly the way she should. She pointed out that when someone is president of the United States, you can't treat serious statements like casual jokes. Honestly, I really hope that in the next presidential debates, moderators ask a very simple but important question to Republican candidates, especially people like J.D. Vance, who also leans into this style. If you're president, how are Americans supposed to know when you're joking, when you're trolling, and when you're actually serious? Because when someone holds the power to start wars or control nuclear decisions, it's not harmless for them to make comments that could be taken as threats or directives. Leaders shouldn't blur that line. A lighthearted comment is one thing, but remarks that sound like threats toward political opponents aren't something anyone should brush off as humor. Another pattern you see constantly is the quick shift to, but the Democrats, anytime MAGA pundits are questioned about Trump's words or actions. Instead of addressing what he actually said, the conversation gets redirected towards something unrelated. It would be refreshing to see these commentators respond directly to the topic at hand without immediately pivoting to blaming Democrats.
Are you saying that's okay?
No, I'm saying they were Democrats that killed them.
No,
this is not
you don't-
Republicans
it
killing
wasn't- you don't know
Democrats.
that.
No, that is
I'm sorry.
not
You do not
This is
know that.
sensitive to me because Charlie Kirk was actually a friend.
I understand
And to hear
that,
people
but-
talk about Donald Trump and Republicans
I'm sorry,
inciting
but Terry,
violence, it's
Terry,
just crazy.
The
It's
history
crazy. I'm
of
sorry.
political violence in this country is not a Democrat story. That is factually inaccurate.
It is in the last 5 years.
No, it is in the last 1 year. One, single. Okay? This year, 2025, is the first and only year in the last 20 years where left-wing violence has exceeded right-wing violence. That is a fact. In the last 5 years, it's been 4 years, it's right-wing violence, 1 year left-wing violence. So you can have the aperture only be expanded to the last 10 months, but in the history of this modern political time, that is just not accurate. But even if it were,
He's
if
not allowed to
Donald
say that.
Trump thinks that there is a problem of political violence in this country, why on earth
Would he say
are
that?
comments like these acceptable to
Sedition
you?
is a lawful process. You have to be
Sure.
tried and convicted in the court of law.
Sure.
He's not
But
encouraging
you
people.
actually
He's not saying
believe-
this is Hitler.
But hold on a second.
These people are fascists.
You actually believe that Democrats putting out a video saying follow the law
I think
is
it was
sedition?
terrible. I think it was terrible.
You think that's sedition?
And look, we've already seen Democrats weaponize
Terry,
the
let me
government.
ask you a question. Do you think that Democrats putting out a video saying this is follow the law, don't follow
Why do you need
illegal
to tell
orders,
people to follow the law?
do you think that is sedition?
Everyone in the military
It's a
knows
yes
you need
or
to follow
no. It
the
is
law.
a yes or no question.
I
Is it
think-
sedition to tell people to follow the law?
I think Democrats have a long and standing history of undercutting
I'm just
and undermining
saying
the Constitution.
you're not
and
willing
our-
to say yes or no because it's very obvious
Clear.
that the answer is no.
Because
if
weren't-
that were the case,
It's
then,
a wink
then,
and a nod. That's the
then a
reason.
lot of
Their
things
words
would
are
be sedition.
perfectly.
We
It's a
would be
perfect
executing
video,
people left, right,
but
and
it's a
center.
wink and a nod, and it's all meant to undermine the president of the United States. The military does not have a right to
Guess
undermine
what?
the chief.
Hold on a second. In this country, you do get to undermine the president of the United
Not
States.
if you're in the military.
No.
He's the
No.
commander-in-chief.
If you are a member of Congress, you absolutely, in this country, have a free
accountability.
right
But they're
to
calling
undermine
on
the
the
president of the
military
United
to
States. You know that,
undermine
right?
the
Also
commander-in-chief.
just made the argument that the Democrats were making in that video, because the fact is the military is not obligated to follow illegal orders.
Who's giving the illegal orders? Where
Well,
are they? Give me the
The
example of the
Democrats
illegal
were
order.
saying specifically, you're not obligated to follow illegal orders.
Okay,
period.
then what illegal orders are they talking about?
Well,
they're
they're
just
in the future.
just in case.
In the future, yeah.
Because you're
just in the case.
because they're
right
all
now
crazy.
we have a
No
judge
one's gonna
that
stop
said
the
crazy.
midterms. No one's going to stop the
Trump,
midterms.
Trump's sending in.
Who just came up with the conspiracy theory that Republicans are going to stop the midterms?
Trump's
That's
sending in-
crazy. That's a conspiracy theory.
All right.
Terry Schilling asked Sam Seder to show proof that the military is being pushed toward anything improper, and Sam brought up something that's been reported recently. There was a PBS story explaining that some service members have been reaching out to nonprofit legal groups that offer free advice to military personnel. According to that reporting, there's been an increase in people asking questions like, if certain instructions come down, could following them put me at risk later on? These concerns seem to come from uncertainty about what's appropriate in different situations, whether it involves being sent into cities or carrying out actions that some might see as questionable. The point Sam Seder was making is that service members want clarity. They want to make sure they're not putting themselves in a position where they could face trouble down the line for following an order they weren't sure about. There have also been comments from officials, including the governor of Illinois, saying that military members are still responsible for their own actions and could face consequences if they knowingly participate in anything unlawful. Even though there's been a lot of debate about presidential immunity, that protection doesn't extend to everyone else. So while Terry Schilling tried to catch Sam Seder off guard, Sam was referring to real discussions happening publicly. What do you think about all of this? How do you feel about the debate surrounding what counts as a lawful order and the way Democrats and Republicans have handled the situation? And what did you think of Sam Seder's exchange on Abby Phillip Show? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more.